My name is Marcus Layton, and I've got a problem, a gloriously ostentatious, sunshine-blinding kind of problem named Blondie. Blondie is my Lamborghini Aventador. Not just a car, but a rolling lightning bolt that turns heads and draws phone cameras like honey draws bees. I just pulled in my driveway after a grueling 14-hour shift at the trauma center. Intubations, emergency surgeries, a cracked sternum I repaired with precision, and one heart I literally restarted. Just another Tuesday. I was getting ready to drag myself inside for a long, overdue shower and maybe a slice of leftover pizza when I saw her. Gloria Pennington, my neighbor. A woman whose vintage floral dresses always looked like they were borrowed from her grandmother's attic, whose shoes matched nothing but her attitude. Aggressively nosy, obsessively pristine, and forever convinced the world should follow her personal HOA bylaws, whether it was official or not. She was standing on top of one of her gaudy lawn ornaments, this time a giant ceramic flamingo, staring at Blondie like it had rolled off Satan's driveway. Her hands were clenched, her face scrunched in disapproval, as if she'd just caught a whiff of something unholy. And then she hopped off the flamingo, surprisingly nimble for someone who looked like her cardio consisted of walking briskly toward gossip, and stomped right to the edge of her lawn. "That thing," she declared, gesturing dramatically at Blondie, "is an eyesore, a menace to property values and a direct assault on the visual integrity of our neighborhood." I sighed. I'd been expecting this. Gloria had made her feelings known from the moment I moved in 6 months ago. My car was foreign garbage, and she was certain I must have stolen it. You know, the classic neighborly welcome wagon of suspicion and subtle racism. "Good evening, Mrs. Pennington," I said, doing my best to sound civil, even as fatigue buzzed behind my eyes. "Is there something I can assist you with?" "Oh, there certainly is," she sniffed, puffing her chest out like a cartoon rooster. "I've decided to do you a kindness. A charitable act, really. I'm willing to relieve you of that monstrosity for $1. I blinked. $1. I repeated, convinced I had misheard her. She nodded solemnly. "Yes, it's probably stolen, anyway. But I'm a generous woman. $1. Take it or leave it." Before I could gift her with the sarcastic monologue bubbling up in my brain, she added, "Think of it as community service. You'd be doing everyone a favor." I opened my mouth to respond when Blondie, perhaps sensing the tension, let out a sharp, thunderous exhaust pop. It wasn't intentional, I swear, but it was perfectly timed. Gloria shrieked like a character in a low-budget horror flick, tripped backward, and fell, face first, into her precious rose bushes. Thorns, petals, and indignation flying everywhere. She scrambled up, covered in scratches and leaves, looking like she'd just lost a fight with a bouquet. "That's it," she shrieked. "I'm calling the police. You're a threat. You probably are a drug dealer. Or worse. I'm not letting this go." "Mrs. Pennington, please," I began, my hands raised in a gesture of calm. "Lies," she cut me off, already dialing 911. "There's a suspicious man here with a stolen sports car terrorizing the neighborhood." I stood there, stunned but not surprised. I knew how this would look. Young black man. Fancy car. A distressed white woman shouting help. The recipe for disaster had been simmering all evening, and now it was boiling over. Within minutes, a squad car pulled up with flashing lights and a brief wail of siren. 2 officers emerged. Officer Torres, a young woman with a sharp gaze and quiet confidence, and Officer Holbrook, older, stiffer, clearly a man who'd seen a lot of nonsense in his time. Gloria immediately launched into a theatrical performance worthy of a community theater award, clutching her chest, fake sobbing, staggering like a Victorian heroine in distress. "Officers, thank goodness. That man," she pointed at me with trembling hands, "he stole that Lamborghini. He's been harassing me." I feared for my life. I stared blankly as Officer Torres approached me. "Sir," she began, clipboard in hand, "can you explain what's going on here?" "My name is Dr. Marcus Layton," I said calmly, reaching into my pocket. "That is my car. I have the registration and insurance papers right here." I handed over the documents. Torres studied them carefully, her expression unreadable. Holbrook stood a few steps back, arms crossed, silently observing. Gloria, meanwhile, continued to mutter under her breath about crime, danger, and the decline of civilized society. "Do you have proof of employment?" Torres asked, glancing up. "Something that would explain ownership of such an expensive vehicle?" I hesitated. My jaw clenched slightly. I shouldn't have to justify my life to strangers because my neighbor had an overactive imagination and an underactive sense of decency. But I knew the game. I played it before. "Yes," I said, pulling out my phone. "Here's my hospital ID. I'm a neurosurgeon. And here's my latest pay stub." Gloria snorted. "Probably forged. He's a scammer. Can't you see that?" Holbrook finally spoke, his voice deep and even. "Mrs. Pennington, enough." I handed my phone to Officer Torres. She took her time, flipping through the files, zooming in, verifying the details. The silence felt like a pressure chamber. Finally, she handed the phone back. "Everything checks out, Dr. Layton. Thank you for your cooperation." Holbrook nodded. "We'll be speaking to your neighbor now." He turned to Gloria, who was still fuming, her face redder than the roses clinging to her sweater. "Mrs. Pennington," he said sternly, "filing a false police report is a serious offense." Gloria's expression wavered. I was just concerned. I thought I was helping." "No, ma'am," Holbrook replied. "You made assumptions. Dangerous ones." I took a breath. "Before you go, officers, I'd like to clarify something, for her benefit." I turned to Gloria with the calmest, most surgical level of sarcasm I could muster. "Mrs. Pennington," I said with a gentle smile, "you seem to be confused about how someone like me could afford that stolen car. Let me help you out. I'm a neurosurgeon. I spend my days saving people's lives, operating on their brains, repairing their spines. And yes, the paycheck reflects that. So no, I didn't steal it." Gloria's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "You're a neurosurgeon?" "Yes," I nodded. "And a homeowner, and a taxpayer. And unlike you, I don't harass my neighbors or weaponize my privilege." Officer Torres's lips twitched with amusement. Holbrook remained stoic, but I caught the flicker of satisfaction in his eyes. He stepped forward. "Mrs. Pennington," he said, "we're letting you off with a warning today. But if we receive any more complaints like this, especially ones based on baseless accusations, there will be consequences. Do you understand?" "Yes, officer," she whispered, her voice barely audible. As the squad car pulled away, leaving Gloria standing alone among her disheveled bushes, I felt something settle in my chest. Not vengeance, not even victory, just closure. She had tried to reduce me to a stereotype, tried to steal my dignity and my peace of mind for $1. But in the end, she'd only managed to expose herself. She shuffled back toward her house, her spine bent slightly, the once starched floral dress now sagging in defeat. I knew this wouldn't erase her biases, but maybe, just maybe, it would give her something to think about the next time she judged someone based on their skin color and success. I turned back to Blondie, gleaming in the soft glow of the porch light, unapologetically yellow and radiantly mine. She wasn't just a car. She was a badge of perseverance, a roar of defiance against every expectation I'd broken. I spent the evening winding down, grateful for the silence. I even thought about ordering a pineapple pizza, just to spite Gloria. I didn't, but the temptation was real. That night, as I drifted into sleep, I couldn't help but smile. She tried to buy my Lamborghini for $1, but karma gave her the bill. The next morning, a small bouquet of wilted roses was left on my doorstep. No card, no apology, just silence. Even Karens, it seems, can learn.